Hi everybody, today we are going over Boolean Algebra basics. The first thing we want to think about is that Boolean Algebra only uses two values, 0 that represents false and 1 that represents true. We also have two operations. We have plus, which means or, and we have multiplication, which means and. Let's take a look at how we use or. You want to think of, is there at least one 1? If I have 0 plus 0, we get 0. There are no 1's, so I stay with the value of 0. When I have 0 plus 1, I get 1. Just like when I have 1 plus 0, I get 1. These three rules should look fine. They look like our regular arithmetic that we've been doing for years. The only tricky combination is 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is going to be equal to 1. Remember, 1 stands for true. So true, true is true. In Boolean, or doesn't mean we're adding. Go back to the idea that if there's at least one 1, the answer is 1. There is no number 2 in Boolean algebra. Let's take a look at and. With and, both of the values need to be 1, otherwise it's 0. There should be no surprise with that. So 0 times 0 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, 0 times 1 is 0, but 1 times 1 is 1. These four should be pretty easy. There's nothing weird going on. This is just like regular multiplication. Anything times 0 is 0. So what does this mean for variables? Let's start with our rules for and. If I have 0 times a, I get 0. Think about 0 kills everything. If I have 1 times a, I'm just going to get a. Remember, 1 is an identity, so when I multiply by 1, I don't change the value. A times a is a. Let's think about what that could mean. Because I'm multiplying the value times itself, I either have 0 times 0 or 1 times 1. 0 times 0 we said is 0, so we get what we started with. 1 times 1 we said is 1. Again, we get what we started with. Now let's take a look at OR rules. When I have 0 plus a, I get a. 0 didn't change anything because 0 is the identity for addition. If I have 1 plus a, I just get 1. This one's a little harder, but I just want you to think through what we're doing. We said as long as I have at least one 1, my answer is 1. Then my last one, a plus a, is going to be a. We can break that down to pieces again. Either 0 plus 0 is 0, or 1 plus 1 is 1. So when I start with the same two numbers, I get that number as an output. The key takeaways that hopefully will make this easier going forward is that and works just like regular multiplication. If I multiply by 0, it kills everything out. Or works like at least 1. Any 1 makes the whole result 1. The only surprise and the thing you have to really think about is 1 plus 1 is equal to 1 because we don't have a 2 in Boolean. And finally, with variables, 0 and 1 act as shortcuts to simplify expressions. As you begin working with Boolean expressions, keep a small reference sheet nearby. Having the basic operations and identities in front of you can make it much easier to recognize patterns and simplify expressions correctly. The more you practice, the less you'll need to rely on the reference sheet and the more natural these rules will become.